Dupuy, and welcome to the Capital Project 2021 presentation. Before we begin, I'd just like to inform you that at the end of this presentation, there will be another slide just like this so that you can participate in a thought exchange that will help prepare a frequently asked questions document that will also appear on our webpage and on our Capital Project 2021 landing page. You simply use your QR code, or you can go to tjoin.com and input the code that's on the screen. With our projects, for the past 12 years, we have always had a focus on moving forward and having state-of-the-art facilities and promoting over 60 years of progress. And here's a photo of when our campus was first built, almost over 60 years ago. And this is a photo of our current campus after numerous projects over the past 12 years. And our intent with this upcoming project, Capital Project 2021, is to continue to advance our facilities for the future. With that in mind, we deploy a planning process. Since 2011, the Dupuy Union Free School District has consistently reviewed its facilities and their mechanical systems through a building condition survey, which is used to develop a future plan for facility improvements. The district utilizes a facility improvement team, the FIT team, that meets with our architect to review the future plans and information collected during the building condition survey. The team then begins to look at the systems that require repair and replacement, as well as the academic program needs of the district, in order to develop items for a potential capital project. The Dupuy school community's input is always vital for the facility improvement team to consider in its decision-making process. With that in mind, we once again used thought exchange so everyone had a chance to share their perspectives and for us to understand what's most important to the school community. Once we had the results, we convened the facilities improvement team twice over the summer to design the project, which was based on the input from the school community, coupled with remaining items left on our 5-year facilities study list. Now that the project is finalized, it is time to have the Board of Education approve that, which they did this past week, and take action on moving the proposal forward so that the school community can vote on it. As presented last spring, this timeline will allow us to package the project to be sent to the New York State Department of Education in early 2022 with a potential approval in the fall of 2022. We can then take advantage, as we have in the past, of bidding the project in January of 2023. Bidding in January has always been very favorable for us, as we have come out under budget each time by approximately $1.5 million, and then we're able to reinvest those funds into our capital reserve for future projects. The building inventory and initial prioritized needs for each of the buildings are as follows. And again, this is from the 5 years facility study. The first, Cayuga Heights, the plenum in the corridors to help balance our HVAC need to be upgraded. New hot water tank in room 211, exterior plumbing upgrade, clock system upgrade, new integrated lockdown system, classroom and hallway LED lighting, and you're going to see some of these common items throughout all buildings. Renovate student and staff toilet rooms, and then a new gymnasium floor in the old gym. At the middle school, again, clock system upgrade, new integrated lockdown system, the grease traps need to be replaced, classroom and hallway LED lighting, replace exterior gymnasium doors out back, provide security fire and intruder doors, renovate student and staff toilet rooms, and our expansion joints in the hallways. In the high school, again, new integrated lockdown system, grease traps need to be replaced, classroom and hallway LED lighting, exterior wall panel replacement. These are on the back side of the high school building. Renovate student and staff toilet rooms, replace freezer and cooler equipment in the kitchen, and then replace our pool filter. District-wide, replace exterior lighting at athletic complex to LEDs. Tennis courts need to be resurfaced and actually be relocated, which I'll discuss in a future slide. Remaining parking lot and roadway lights to be replaced to LEDs, and review and study to decommission the cogen plant, which is located out behind the middle school, which is aging out. Other items identified through our thought exchange. And the question was, as the Depew Union Free School District enters into the planning phase of its next major capital project, what do you believe should be some of the highest priorities for the district? We had over 215 participants, we had 185 thoughts, and over 6,000 ratings during this thought exchange. 28% of the participants were from our student body, 40% parents and guardians, 1% community members, and 31% were our staff members. The three key items that came out from our thought exchange was air conditioning with 48 submissions, outdoor open shelters for outdoor classroom space, we had 20 submissions there, and then an auditorium at Cayuga Heights, again, to alleviate congestion with a one odd district, which is actually located in our high school. We had 8 submissions of that. There were also numerous submissions about our bathrooms throughout all the buildings. However, that was being addressed through our facility study. So the FIT committee supported 3 propositions after their meetings this summer. Proposition 1 is to address all the items in the district facilities upgrades. Proposition 2 is contingent upon Proposition 1 passing, but this is to move forward the Cayuga Heights Auditorium addition. And Proposition 3, again, is contingent upon 1 and 2 being successful for district-wide air conditioning. So Proposition 1. Looking at Cayuga Heights specifically, these are the top 4 items that will be addressed. Renovate student and staff toilet rooms for a little over $800,000. New PA lockdown system, door access control and intruder door for a little over $1.3 million. New emergency classroom and corridor LED lighting, exterior parking lot and site LED lighting for a little over $1.2 million. And then grease trap replacement at $65,000. Additional is that new gym floor, HVAC upgrades in the corridor, new ceiling and lights in the kitchen, hot water tank replacement, door replacements, and exterior plumbing. For the middle school, renovate student staff toilets, again, for a little over $800,000. New PA lockdown system, door access control and intruder door, a little over $1.3 million. New emergency classroom and corridor LED lighting and exterior parking lot and site LED lighting for a little over $21,000. And then HVAC upgrades, again, preparing for future decommission of the cogen at $145,000. Additional items are corridor expansion joists, flooring, door replacement, and grease trap replacement. At the high school, again, student staff toilet rooms, $1.4 million. PA lockdown system, door access control and intruder door, a little over $1.8 million. Pool renovation, $1.4 million. And then our technology classroom renovations to, again, upgrade those spaces at $1.4 million. Though over the last several projects, we have upgraded other spaces associated with STEM, including the art and music spaces. Now it's time to focus in on the technology. Other items, exterior wall placement, panel replacement, kitchen equipment, door replacements, grease trap replacement, remove abandoned HVAC equipment, classroom 120 renovation, roof ladder replacement, outdoor classroom seating, security vestibule, and HVAC upgrades. To the tennis courts and basketball courts, you will see in this slide to the right in the graphic, back some 40 or 50 years ago when the original tennis courts and basketball court was designed and built, it was actually built over our property line and onto a paper street and 2 other parcels of property. Therefore, we are required to move this fully back onto our property, and at the same time, the tennis courts and basketball court is in need of significant renovations. So that's what this piece of the project will do. The proposed area for the relocation is behind the middle school in that courtyard for the tennis courts and the basketball court, and then we also are going to provide 4 pickleball courts to be used for our physical education classes. and then we will relocate the two discus cage and fields that will be impacted by moving these courts closer to the middle school. At the bus garage, we need to renovate and reorganize some office space for a cost of $232,000. Restriping and sealing of the parking lot at $50,000. And then our underground fuel tanks right now are aging out, and before they fail and we have further issues to mitigate, we need to move these above ground, decommission the ones in ground, remove them, and then put the new ones above ground. So that cost will be a little over $1 million. Proposition 2 focuses on the Cayuga Heights Auditorium addition, and this will be placed at the end of the second grade wing, right next to the playground. It'll have access to bathrooms from both the playground and the fields on the field side, as well as the vestibule and the playground side. It's the least disruptive addition to this facility, considering the limited space. And we will also have direct access to the auditorium from that front parking lot with a vestibule. The auditorium will seat 457 individuals. That will be able to accommodate half of this building, which has over 800 students in it on a daily basis, and it also does include air conditioning. Proposition 3 is district-wide air conditioning, and with the funding that was available to us, what we ended up doing was determining high priority areas, medium priority areas, and low priority areas. And as we go through the project and realize the funding and how far that funding goes, we will move from high into medium, and even if we are able to move into the low areas. But for presentation's sake, these are the areas. We are looking to air condition Cayuga Heights fully. You will see the high priority areas in red. The areas that are in gray are already air conditioned spaces. We've had the most difficulty with controlling the temperatures at Cayuga Heights because of this facility layout. Therefore, we felt that this was a highest priority within the district. And then moving over to the middle school, here we're looking at the highest priority being that third floor where the 6th grade rooms are, and then a medium priority would be just below them where the technology rooms are, and then on the back side of the building would be a low priority area at this point. For the high school, we're looking at the 2nd floor as being high priority. Again, the gray areas being already air conditioned. The 2nd floor of the high school has been, just like Cayuga Heights, has been the most difficult when we have high temperatures outside and able to cool those spaces. So that has become a high priority. And then on the 1st floor, the west side of the building, those classroom spaces in yellow would be the medium priority, and then the rest of the spaces on the east side of the building would become the lower priority. And again, the gray areas within this facility are already air-conditioned spaces. So cost and funding. We have New York State Building Aid, our capital reserve, federal stimulus, and other monies along with the local share. So looking at cost by building for Cayuga Heights, Proposition 1, and again, Proposition 1 is the building condition survey items. That's about $3 million. Proposition 2 is $4.7 million, which is the auditorium. Proposition 3, which is the air conditioning, is $5.5 million, for a total of $13.2 million for Cayuga Heights for all 3 propositions. In the middle school, Proposition 1 for the survey items is $4.1 million. Proposition 3 for the air conditioning is $1.4 million, for a total of $5.5 million. The high school Proposition 1 is $11.7 million. Proposition 3 is $2.9 million, for a total of $14.6 million. Bus garage, Proposition 1, which is again survey items, is $1.4 million, for the total project of $34.7 million. Then having it broken down by proposition. So proposition 1 is again the building condition survey items. For Cayuga Heights, 3 million, middle school, 4.1 million, the high school, 11.7, bus garage, 1.4, for a total of 20.2 million for the proposition 1. The auditorium, proposition 2 for Cayuga Heights is 4.7 million as mentioned. Proposition 3, the air conditioning project, Cayuga Heights is 5.5 million, middle school is 1.4 million, the high school is 2.9 million for a total of 9.8 million. And again, totaling all three propositions up would be $34.7 million. So our funding consideration, we have to consider the cost of the full project, which has multiple propositions, 1, 2, and 3. The amount of capital reserve, we are targeting 2.5 million from that reserve. The capital project maximum aidability per New York State, we're at 84%, 83.9% right now versus adjusted aidability per specific regulations. In other words, certain spaces such as an auditorium gets different aidability than a classroom does. So that's also in consideration. We are using our federal stimulus monies that we received in response to COVID. And there's a piece of that stimulus that we can focus on HVAC issues, specifically air conditioning. And we targeted $1.7 million for that. And the other monies from our unrestricted fund balance and lunch fund, and we targeted $620,000 for that. And then the impact on the local tax levy is an average of 27 cents per thousand for all three propositions. Then this is broken down by the funding stream and proposition. So if you take a look at the top of this chart, proposition 1 is $20.2 million. We're looking at receiving almost $20 million in New York State building aid. Of that, 2.8 million is applied towards interest. Capital reserve would be 2.5 million, nothing in the federal stimulus. Other monies are $470,000 that come from the general fund budget, our unrestricted reserve. And then our school lunch fund, we will apply $150,000 from there, which is for the equipment purchase for the kitchens. And local share will be zero. There will be no tax impact for Proposition 1. Proposition 2 is 4.7 million. We'll receive a little over $2 million from New York State Building Aid. Of that, $770,000 would be applied for interest. Nothing from the capital reserve, nothing from federal stimulus, nothing from other monies or the school lunch fund. And the local share applied would be almost $3.5 million. Proposition 3 is $9.8 million. Of that, almost $8 million comes from New York State Building Aid. Of that, $1.3 million is of interest. Capital reserve, zero. Federal stimulus money, as I mentioned before, $1.7 million will be applied to that project. Nothing from other monies or school lunch fund, and the local share applied will be $1.4 million, a little over $1.4 million. Looking at that graphically, 84% comes from New York State Education Department from our building aid. 10% would come from our capital reserve, 5.5% federal stimulus, 0.5% from the local share, and then 1.35% from other monies. Funding consideration, these projections assume current assessed values. Proposition 1 is a tax neutral project and must pass before Proposition 2 and Proposition 3 results can be considered. Proposition 2 has a total of $3.4 million in local share over 16 years. Proposition 3 has a total of $1.4 million local share over 16 years. The potential debt service for all propositions would be approximately $34,779,601. Looking at a projected tax rate impact per $1,000 for that 16-year period of time, Proposition 1 would be zero, Proposition 2 would be 19 cents per thousand, and again, Proposition 2 and 3 would be approximately 27 cents per thousand. Referendum number 1, remaining building condition survey items and various other aesthetic items. There is no tax levy impact. Referendum number 2, if number 1 passes, Cayuga Heights Elementary School Auditorium, the tax levy impact on average would be 19 cents per thousand. And referendum 3, if number 1 and 2 passes, this is the district-wide air conditioning, the tax levy impact on average would be 27 cents per thousand. Looking at this chart is estimated changes in your 24-25 property tax bills as a result of all 3 propositions passing. And this is an assessed value house of $100,000. Right now, the equalization rates in both the town of Cheektowaga and the town of Lancaster are at 100%. So therefore, on a $100,000 assessed home, the impact for this project would be $27.31. Our next steps in the process is for the public to vote on the projects on December 14th from noon to 9 p.m. in the high school gymnasium. If successful, we will finalize the plans and submit to SED in spring of 2022. Proximal approval of plans in fall of 2022. We will then prepare and advertise the bids for the projects in January of 2023 and begin that construction phase in the spring of 2023. And our hope is to have all the projects completed by the fall or winter of 2024. And again, as a reminder, please access our thought exchange either here through this presentation or on our website and share any of your thoughts or questions so that we can prepare a frequently asked questions document and also post that to our website for our community to be able to make an informed decision on December 14th. Thank you for your time.